Yeah, I think that the co-pilot type use cases, right, where you truly with generative AI now, I think finally have sophisticated enough technology to really implement those streamlining efforts where you have sort of an AI co-pilot that's taking on the administrative tasks quickly, intelligently, efficiently. Where in the past it's been a little wonky with kind of more of the structured type chatbots and things like that. So I think that there's a lot of use cases we're seeing with that, just like really quick incremental wins, focusing in lower risk areas on administrative processes. I think there's a lot to be done there. About that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that there's yeah, and I think that in some ways AI does one thing. It's putting a pressure on a system. So as I said, what I had mentioned before, healthcare in general are still not really sophisticated data users for the most part. There
yeah,
are exceptions to that rule, but as I said, we collect a lot of data, we collect a lot of complex data, but good data models and good modeling of systems, I think is still fairly rare. And so we keep coming out with new and better before we've actually even adopted to more simple
yeah,
to understand. And so it does put us in an interesting game. We're having to take on AI at a time period where it would have been nice to have stabilized our I think our understanding of data and analytics and statistics and things like that we needed beforehand before we took on AI. I think that the computer will be making data decisions before we've ever taught a human to do it. And so what you will get is a black box if you're not careful.
yeah. We're seeing it's kind of the same dynamic that I remember maybe 10, 15 years ago when really I think the first beautiful visual, dashboard visualization tools came out, right? And everyone was just rushing to say like, I want one of those really beautiful dashboards. And we were saying, wait a minute, like you gotta have a data foundation that you trust, that that's actually accurate, or else whatever you put on those dashboards, no matter how beautiful they are, is not really going to move the needle. And I think we're seeing the same thing with AI and machine learning. Is there's a lot of organizations, and for no fault, it's just they're trying to jump really quickly to the sophisticated AI and machine learning use cases without maybe setting that foundation on those core data sets at a minimum that they can trust, that are organized for those tools and those technologies to really be effective. And so I think that there's always a little bit of a sweet spot on making sure that you make some of the initial investments before you really go into some of those AI machine learning things. And there's some things that can be done in parallel, but I think it's something to always keep an eye on.
Yeah, and I think it's always dangerous when you come up with these seemingly unreachable terms, like artificial intelligence. I think does something to the brains of people. Most the average person who runs a hospital or does something like that doesn't have any idea what artificial intelligence actually is and how dangerous it is or is not and how it gets done. And I think the good news, one of the good outcomes of the recent sort of explosion with Google and their AI model and things like that is the fact that you realize that humans still, even in artificial intelligence, humans are still a huge portion of training the model how to function.
Yeah.
And so all of the bias and and flaws of human thinking can be built into an AI model. So that's the danger is we don't just we the Terminator just doesn't show up on your doorstep and start figuring out all your problems. You've got there's a lot of thinking that has to be done, and I just as a person, as a clinician, I think a clinician tends to be a little more on the cautious side because again there's a patient at the other end of that decision. So whatever that black box is putting out, I want some proof that it's useful, relevant, and safe before I stop being the barrier between that getting to the
Right.
person.